Welcome to the Leadership Kit. Last week we got to meet Mike Adkins, pastor of Grace Church in Orlando. He is an incredible leader, and we got to hear a little bit about Grace Church and its origins.
Right, and this week we're going to talk to Mike about his leadership, talk a little bit more about his philosophy and his take on how he does things at Grace Church. We hope you guys enjoy it. As a leader here, what is it that you're doing, or you guys as an organization that's doing, that's really like winning? Like what's the, like one of the things, especially right now, like in this season maybe,
Yep.
or overall, something that you guys are doing that you know that's intentional, that you guys are just really killing it at?
I think I'd probably put three things in that category. First is, I think, the uniqueness of our services.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you walk in and we have a great band and great music, and in that way we're no different than, a lot of churches out there. But then I think when you combine, the depth of liturgy that we have, I think it surprises people. So in Central Florida, we have a lot of former Catholics and former Lutherans and Episcopalians and people like that. This is the largest de-churched city in America.
Wow.
And so a big piece of what we do is we reach out to those guys. Because a Catholic coming to a church that's just like maybe say like an Andy Stanley church, they might go, cool, but it's too big of a gap. It's too big of a jump. When they come here, they hear some of the same language and they see some of the same ritual. I mean, when I'm up there doing communion, I'm breaking it like a priest,
Yeah.
And so when they see that, it feels a little bit like home, but it's challenging enough to go, I'm getting something out of this that makes sense. So I think that's one thing that I think we're doing. I think another thing is God has really just challenged the leadership. We've all kind of gone through recently just some personally, spiritually challenging times. I'll be honest with you. I think every pastor wants the church to grow, and I want Grace to grow. But we had, like, just where we are and where we have been, we have a really sweet situation going on.
Yeah.
And it's a little scary to mess with it. And so I think that the Lord has been calling us. I went on a retreat. I said, Lord, I feel great about where we are right now. And I felt like the Lord was saying, I'm doing things. We have like a 5-year plan. And I'm doing things that are bigger than your little 5-year plan.
Wow.
And honestly, I came back with a wow, but wow, oh my gosh, and because I don't think small. So I was like, okay, cool. But it was a little scary. And I think I went through a period of leadership transition where it was really, scary is too trivial of a word. I was almost panicked by the fact that maybe this thing. I even talked to my wife. I said, maybe I'm not the guy to lead to the next step. And we prayed about it. We talked about it. Looked at it, and then talked to some elders, and they're all like, no, you're the person that's supposed to do this. And I had a lot of external confirmation of that. So it was both humbling and encouraging at the same time. And so I think that's not unique just to me. We've had several staff members go through stuff like that where we're like, we want to be the church God wants us to be, and maybe that's going to be a little bit bigger than we wanted. And but at the end of the day, it's all trust.
Right.
It's all faith. And so I think a big piece of the pie that's really, really good here right now is that we're walking in faith in big ways. And, the thing that I constantly hear about myself, which is very awkward to say on camera, but the thing that people always say, Mike hears from God. That's extraordinarily humbling and yet a massive pressure.
Right. Yeah.
Because you don't want to get it wrong.
Right.
I don't want to disappoint people, and I'm not immune to that. But so I think there's been a real high dependence right now on the Lord for what he's doing. We're doing a series right now called House Rules.
Okay.
And they're basically the culture statements of our church.
Oh, nice.
And so I think the culture of our church is massively healthy. And I think one of the things that creates that healthy culture is that you have to lead from the platform. And I don't just mean demonstrate godliness and those kinds of things, but I think you have to tell people how to treat you. And you have to tell people how to treat the church, And I'll give you an example of this. Years ago, this idea popped in my head years ago because I was at a church called Granger Community Church up in South Bend, Indiana. It's a really it's an amazing church. It's the largest United Methodist church in Indiana. And Pastor Mark Beeson and I were standing at the front of the, like in the lobby area, and this woman comes in. She goes, "Hey," she goes, "Pastor Mark, I have some old crappy carpet that I pulled out of my house. I was wondering if I could donate to the church." And I just like he pulled me aside afterwards, like, what would somebody think? Just giving like old crappy carpet, to the church. Like, that's the worst thought ever. And I thought, you know what, you're right. Like, we're supposed to give to the church our absolute best.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's our finances, whether it's our heart, whether it's our service. And so our culture is built around that idea that we give everything. And the church is first. And we teach that from the platform. We don't talk about each other. We say it up there. We don't do gossip. And so when someone does, people go, yeah, that doesn't really work. And it's wonderful because it takes people who are, moving in this direction, and they immediately see it and then just move on. Because we say grace is not for everybody. We want to have grace. Yeah. God's grace is for everyone. But no, Grace Church is not for everybody. And so sometimes you get the blessed subtraction, and it's wise and good, and it creates health.
I like that term.
Yeah.
First time hearing it.
Subtraction.
Blessed subtraction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You're not here to convince people that they need to be part of here. Like, you're here to be who God called you to be.
Right.
And if that resonates with them, then they found a place to belong.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.